is using guided imagination, which is proven as a cause of joy in a person's life. Is that a technique for blurring the ego? Also, thoughts were given us from the Creator. So how come we can change patterns of thoughts through use of imagination? Well, it's a technique like any technique. If I am brought up a certain way, I have to conduct myself in a certain way. I have to be courteous. I have to be kind and not get mad. And there are people who are born with bad tempered. And my nature truly is sensitive and really inconsiderate. So what? Everyone who is in a certain society receives from it a certain upbringing and special pressures and discernments and inclinations. None of us are natural. So this technique of getting up in the morning and smiling to others even though you don't want to, and singing even though you don't want to sing, is fine. It's fine. You're doing good to yourself. And as a result, you develop a good attitude to life, and you don't blur your ego. You don't blur yourself. If at the same time you know that these things are so you would have a good mood, so you would take things more easily. So after work you can read something and learn something about life, Then you don't fall into despair, into drugs. You don't get mad at others. You don't curse yourself and others and the Creator. It's good. I'm in favor. Also, there are many Hasidic stories about it, about how a great righteous goes into the depth of a problem, and all of a sudden he gets bitter about something and so on. He closes the door and starts dancing, starts elevating himself to a sensation of seemingly artificial joy. But from this bogus joy, he comes to real joy. He opens his eyes, he starts seeing the world in a different way. It's not a lie. There are many stories about how Kabbalists would pay money for musicians to play the music. And as a result, they would rise higher. And the Kabbalist's wife asked him, "Why are you paying these musicians? They're bums." He told her, "Without them, I can't be inspired." "Yeah, but they're all drunks and, they don't even care about their own music." He said, "That doesn't matter. What matters is that this music, this most superficial thing, seemingly, comes from a totally foreign place. It evokes me and gives me joy. And as a result, a person is awakened to higher things." So we can see it in many sources. We can use, guided imagination. It's not really guided imagination, but we can use this technique to improve our spirits and as a result approach the real life. I want to relate to the second part of the question again. Thoughts were given to us by the Creator. So how come we can change thought patterns through using imagination? Two things come to us from the Creator, good and bad. And in between them, we need to find ourselves. And that's how we should relate to life. We should combine the two and see that there's none else besides Him. And that if I'm not for me, who is for me? And in this way, move forward. So first of all, everything I have at my disposal are artificial things, good ones, bad ones. They all come from above. That's one. Two, how do I use it? By which instrument? First, I need to have a technique with which to use it. For what purpose? And all of that we find in Kabbalah. So if you relate to everything that the world has and I have correctly, then you can lead yourself forward. Well, I still don't get it. How can we change our thoughts if, as Tal is asking, if the Creator is planting the thoughts in us? How do we change our thoughts or thought patterns through imagination? A thought is a result of desire. What does that mean? What I want is what I'm thinking about. The thought comes in order to serve the desire, how to get what is desirable to me. Can you explain that? Well, we're all just one big desire to enjoy. In our desire to enjoy, there are many desires to all kinds of sources of pleasures, all kinds of things that we seemingly need. When I want something, I activate the thought, and the thought helps me realize my desire, obtain what I want. These are our thoughts, really. If I get from society, from books, from whatever, from something else, for new thoughts about something that's more important, then I begin to think about what society thinks. This is called the influence of society on a person. I go into a certain place, I hear all kinds of things. I'm impressed by what they want, by what they're doing, what they attain. That's the whole thing about publicity, commercials that we hear from dawn to dusk. And I think about something, my thought change, my desires change. So, where am I here, you might ask? A person can clarify all of his thoughts, all of his desires, in order to bring himself to a goal that he chooses in advance. That's what Kabbalah comes and says, choose society, choose the books, choose why you're living. And as a result, you'll have changes in your desires and your thoughts. And the Creator who sends them to you, these thoughts and desires, does it from both sides, from the good side, from the bad side. And in between them, you have to find the golden way. It's just like with kids. We give them all kinds of exercises. We deliberately confuse them. We want them to, we break the pieces apart. We want them to put it together. We don't help them do it right away. That's what the Creator does. He places all kinds of thoughts and desires in front of us that run around in our minds, and as a result, we have to clarify what is good for the attainment of the right goal. So you needn't be afraid of these techniques. If through beautiful music I can improve my mood, why shouldn't I? It's one of the means by which I can rise. And from the higher degree, from this high spirits to start working, I go into a place where there's joy. I become happy myself. So what? I shouldn't go in there. Should I go into a place where people are mourning, and should I sit there all the time? Or in this, it's called the seat of scornful. You should choose in the environment. Anything that affects you positively towards attaining the goal is positive. That's what we've been given, the choice to achieve the higher goal through the right environment.